the number is unchanged, right? But we can change to today's moment. Like we can influence people. We can choose to sell more oil, sell more gas, sell more stuff today, but we cannot change anything past tomorrow. I also sort of studied about the micro, like things that are very tiny times. For instance, time that is, if you are to look at the present, how do you squeeze that small time into a mini time, right? Like when I say past, like I spend time explaining the past at the historical, something that happened last year, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But what about like 2 seconds ago, 2 minutes ago when I drove, right? It's getting dark right now. Should I worry about what happens a few minutes ago? Should I worry about that? Probably not. Should I care right now that I'm driving alongside my Tesla Ferro Model Y? Yes, right? This is how you live in a moment. You care about people around you, care about things around you, how much you're driving, how much you're speeding, right? And this is why they discourage, this is a very wrong thing here. This is why they discourage listening to music as you drive, or listening to things that will distract you, like being on a phone call, for example. Sometimes phone calls can be the present, right? But for the most part, you're talking to somebody in a different in a distance, somewhere else, right? So you're not like in that moment. So anyways, this video has been very long. It's almost 30 minutes and I'm driving 30 minutes to the area that I'm going at, so I'm not stressed out in finishing it. It's gonna be the only video in the whole for today. But let's talk about the tariffs. I mean the current state of the government, which if you made this far, thanks for reaching this far. I know it's darker, so you're not gonna be able to see me or see my GoPro. Actually does capture some lights, but not as much. But anyways, the US government reopened this week, I believe on Thursday, right? And the budget which was passed is only going to last until January. So in January they will have to pass another budget. So if you're watching this video, just know that the budget is temporary. That also means that they might be hiring, but if you're going to get a job in the government, you have to be mindful that your job could be eliminated within a few months. Alright? So people who are like thirsty for a job in the government, great, but how long can you survive within a few months? Because even hiring takes time, right? So in January they will have to craft another budget and pass it, and hope that that budget will be approved. If not, we actually might see another government shutdown, right? So I am spending time now thinking about the future. What could happen in the future? It's just that it's needed. Like we need to know what's happening in the future. We know that if we can have a shutdown right now, have everything defunded, right? Having a lot of government employees who were fired, they will be on a payroll until January next year, right? And then after that, we're going to see a government shutdown. We might see a shutdown coming up again, because the House is controlled at the moment, controlled by these guys, the Republican, which the Senate majority is Republican. So we could see more things, more shutdown coming up, which will be brutal, because in Washington DC it's pretty cold, right? You don't want to have services reduced such a cold temperature. Look at these apartments. I never actually know what these apartments are for. And they are ridiculously expensive. Anyways, as we hold on for today, as we hold on for now, at this moment, we could see things changing. Also, Donald Trump is reducing the tariffs, so we could see the prices going down in some goods and services. Loss and the loss of AI acquisitions going on. I was trying to study the acquisitions of AI this semester, but it's a huge and broad topic that I think I cannot work on and finish. But I plan on doing my own research, my own stuff, just for fun. Hopefully it will be fun, and that will be sort of an amazing paper. So, but the goal is to study. Like right now, like I said earlier, today I was working on the research on the reading presentation, which is about the Chinese state-backed companies, how China invests money, how does government become a venture capitalist, right? By investing in local farms, failing farms. In the United States, we don't actually see that. In the United States, we see corporations like we see government investing money in big corporations like Amazon, Facebook, right? And many other corporations that are much more already rich, already fully funded. We don't see U.S. government investing in failed farms or even distributing money in the local communities, right? We don't see investments in local communities. We see small towns in the United States shutting down and closing the doors, people moving out, abandoning their own homes. This is very popular. This is common, especially in areas like South Carolina and mostly in the South, where people used to live a lot, right? We see the same thing in Ohio, Kentucky. People abandoning farms and go to the city to look for jobs, right? China is doing the opposite. China is literally just investing in these local areas and putting money in the local people, and then you see all of a sudden you see a huge bump in the local economy. You see factories built, skyscrapers coming up, so those kind of things. So I don't know so that's what I was looking for today. It's what I was studying, and trying to understand if farms do truly, if government should truly focus more on venture capital and also invest in failed farms, other than investing in well into established farms or companies. We also see that when the government invests when the government does invest in the local economy, right? This is called what's the term for it? It's called hometown investments. If farms invest in a hometown, we will see a huge number of farms, companies attracted to that area. And we see this in China too. When China invested in their own people, in the local communities, we see companies like Apple, like big corporations moving to China because they know that the government is being backed up by these sort of corporations. So I just arrived where I'm going, and I'm gonna end this video, and I'm gonna touch base on it when I get back home. Other than that, Thanks for watching. Like always, I'll see you in a few minutes. Hello. Every time I'm about to speak, my voice kind of stops. But you know, it's the beauty of making videos, right? You get to hear your voice and you get to sort of say things that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to say. But anyways, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. As you can see here, I'm driving to Maryland, Silver Spring, and it's 4 p.m. here in Washington DC, and it's extremely dark in my car. Even though I lowered down my windows, it still shows darker. I could have filmed earlier, but I spent time in the classroom, so I didn't have a chance to actually make a video in the afternoon. So here I am. I'm gonna be putting my camera in front as I'm driving because I think it's gonna be more helpful. Anyways, today's video is going to be about just me, productivity. I think that I want to share to people out there on the internet. In 2023, last year, 2022, I took a class in my college, and the class may roll up my windows. And the class is called Rockonomics. So Rockonomics, it comes from the term rock and roll. This way it comes in. It comes from the rock and roll, right? It's the music called the rock and roll music, and how it contributed to the economy of the US and the whole world. My professor was focusing more on Taylor Swift, and she mentioned how Taylor Swift was, how Taylor Swift makes money through music and her concerts, which is, we know she makes a lot of money. We also learned how music is used to influence politics. Then we kind of like did like regulations and just pretty simple stuff, and how it influences the politics, the individuals, right? The churches and all those things. So since then, I sort of stopped listening to music, and really just stopped listening to music. I stopped watching movies. If you ask me, like people ask me right now, like, oh, what kind of movie do you like? I'm like, I don't watch movies. Not in a bad way, but just feel like movies are very fictional. They are not real. They are meant to like whatever control, whatever you have to say. So, but 2023, when I started transitioning from being this guy who loves music to like the guy who doesn't like music, it sort of changed the way I see music, the way I don't think I can give you a path, bro. The way I see music, the way I see films. So I started sort of shifting away from it. So 2023, 2024, I was doing great. Like I was totally fine. Everything was working fine. I was, focusing on the present rather than the past. But in 2025, I became more distracted again. Like I started listening to music, watching, like using social media, watching the social media, reading the news, watching documentaries, right? But then I realized that I'm shifting away from what I used to do, and now that I have tasks, things that I need to do, like schoolwork and working and research, all those things, I'm dedicating most of my time in the past rather than the future. That is what I need to change, like now. And so I today I was just looking up and I was thinking, how much time do I spend on the past? How much am I spending on the future? And how much am I spending on the current? Right? And statistically, you're supposed to spend, not like you're supposed to, but it should be that you should spend 30% of your time in the past, 50% in the present, and 20% in the future. That includes 30% listening to music from 80s and 90s, watching documentaries, reading histories, those kind of things. Then spend another 50% listening to the present. The present, that means maybe going to the gym, working if you have a job, walking around the neighborhood, focusing on what's happening right now. Those are the things that you should be doing. I should be doing as a human being. So I realized that I don't do none of those things. Then the future, of course, should be planning, like for new houses, planning for relationship, planning for a raise. But that should be something that is in the future, like the future, right? Should not pass 20% of what you do. So this kind of gave me a new perspective, like if you go, like right now I'm driving to a religious festival kind of thing, like prayers and other things, men's group. This is going to be the past, right? And as I drive at the moment, I just came from another academic work. I was doing crafting the presentations. I was reading a paper from China about the Chinese venture capitalists, right? This is the paper came out 2024, and it talks about his, it crafts like all the data from the past and how China has involved in developing their own country by investing in the failed farms, failed companies. So those things, right? Like it's all the past. So I realized that I've been doing the past. Like I did the past this morning. I went to the gym and I did an hour of workout. So that was the present. But if you look at what I done the whole day, it was mostly the past. Could I have done it better? If I have to say, did I do anything in the present? Absolutely not. Like I should have probably applied for a job, send an email to one of the managers. I have many managers, I have many people that I know, professionals that I know. I could have sent a message to. I could have reached out to them and say, hey, send an email to them, right? Get in touch with them. But I spent time in the past, right? Doing the past things, and the things in the past they don't really help us. They do help us learn, but they don't really help us do anything really exciting. I'm getting to mainland. Welcome to mainland. So anyway, so just making this video now, reminding myself that I need to focus on the current. 50% of the current. That means I wake up in the morning, do the things in the current moment, and it takes discipline, right? Yes, I've been doing these videos. These are great. I go back and rewatch them. They are all fantastic. But I need to do things in current moment. Things in right now. It's what I need to do. And so I don't know. It's fascinating, right? And then also, I should not listen to the conspiracy theories. People who like to say things like, Trump is not in this country. That is a conspiracy theory. And how am I going to achieve this? I'm going to make sure that 50% is the current, 30% is the future, is the past, 20% is the future. Where maybe I'm gonna start by, instead of reading the news about who got deported and who is winning, who lost the election, gained the election, or what happened in 1950s, maybe spend time watching the actual thing, like what happened that moment. You know, like if there's an event, if Trump is giving a speech, right? Watch the speech right away. If I miss it, I miss it. Like, no need to go back and rewatch it. Like, it's past, it's past. There's a song that it says it's an Italian song. It says it says the every story is a history. It's getting really dark. Like, I don't like this dark time. Every story is a history. So, oh yeah, they have Black Friday deals already here. Pretty cool. That every story. One day I'm gonna make a video about why do we have so many smoke shops in the United States. People smoke more than they eat, smoke more than anything else. But anyways, what I was saying is that maybe focus on the present, maybe focus on what's happening right now. Usually I turn on the music on my vehicle, I turn on the radio station, and then there is like this news channel from Bloomberg News to like music stations, right? People calling in and giving out their stories. All these things are pre-recorded, like they happened in the past. You know, I don't watch movies anymore, which is good. I've shifted away from that. I don't regret. I don't feel bad for it. But I need to do better. I need to do better when it comes to you know, holding myself accountable and ensure that I do the things that are current at the moment, not in the future, not in the past, but in the present. It can be difficult sometimes to focus on the present. It can be really difficult, it can be really tough, harder, but it's achievable. Why Tesla's backing up? Alright, don't hit me, buddy. There we go. Tesla's backing up, I guess. Actually, it's giving me the lights, so now I can be visible in my car. But anyways, so that is the main idea. Like, I just can't stress enough on how many times, like, I feel so bad people listen to music, because music is a pre-recorded thing. Like, it's being recorded by somebody in the studio. They spend time recording it, they spend time crafting it to sound better. But then in reality, those people moved on. Like, they live in a totally different environment, totally different world, and you know, it's easier to think, oh, this happened in 1960s. Maybe not 60s, man. Like, this happened yesterday, you know, like those things. But the reality is, that's the past. Oops. That is the past. Like, it's not the present. Doesn't define. And again, people will emphasize it, things like, you know, you take the past. You know, if you don't read the history, you are market to repeat it, like those things. But like, that is not cool. So anyway, I've been in this neighborhood. It's so navigating, so tiny, tight area to navigate. This is in Maryland. I believe it's in Silver Spring. So anyways, it's getting darker here. Oops. Like, I didn't see that. I didn't see that thing. The bump, speed bump, almost destroyed my car. Very nice neighborhoods. I've always started to film in here. You know, these are very nice neighborhoods. They look great. They are very clean, well maintained. Houses are not pretty old. They are very reasonable houses, and the prices are not that, they are not that expensive. So this is Maryland here. But anyways, how do I observe, like right now I'm watching this neighborhood, how beautiful it is. I am appreciating it. If I was listening to the music, I would not focus on what's happening right now. Now if you go to a religious festival like a Christianity music, like the church, right? You spend an hour over there, then you go back home, you watch the movie. Movies are fictional, so movies are not real. Some movies are based on a true story, but a lot of the movies are just not real, just fictional. But anyways, how I'm just trying to figure out best ways to not focus on the past so much. I keep thinking about what happened in the past all the time. I also noticed that this is going to be difficult, but the best way to do it is to pretty much watch the news that are happening right away, like follow up. Luckily, when I moved to Washington DC, I've been getting in. I've been trying to get information from the actual source, right? So like signing up for any government institutions, sign up for any information that I need to sign up, just being the one to receive that information rather than relying on the news reporting and those kind of things. So that's all I can say. I'll be doing so much more, and there is a possibility that when you focus on the past, the chances of succeeding is very low, because you always compare. You don't even compare, like you rely so much on the past, and this brings me back to like the current moment of the government shutdown. I've been talking about shutdown so much, but then I keep referring back to like the past, right? The past of the government, the past of the administration, the past and the past. And then I was on LinkedIn, and one of the lady, she is a chief economist at Redfin, when she posted about some of the tariffs that got dropped, right? Some of the tariffs that got dropped because Trump dropped some of the tariffs on things like food and many other things that were dropped. And one of the guy asked on her LinkedIn page that asked, why did the policymakers make these decisions? Why did they do this, right? And I responded to him, tariffs helps bring revenues. Tariffs helps protect the domestic produce, domestic production. But then I realized, like, I don't know how much we have gained. Like, I don't know how much, and I could be like everything I mentioned this LinkedIn page was just more like the past, so I couldn't really like explain what exactly the revenue has been generated by the tariffs, or what kind of domestic production has been brought. Like, I never looked into that, which I should be looking into that. I should be able to learn and know like what's happening like right now, like at this moment, all the tariffs were introduced. Like, what are we gaining, what are we losing, right? So anyways, that's pretty much all I wanted to share on this channel. If you are watching this video and you're wondering whether maybe you don't even care at all, like how much time do you spend on the future, the present, and the past. It's just pretty simple. People spend most of the time looking at the past, and some people become futuristic, right? Like, for instance, Christians or the believers in general, they rely so much on the future. This is called optimistic, right? But they oversimplified they oversimplify it by just making an assumption that, you know, we should not care about what's happening right now. We should not care about, I don't know, traffic, or we should not care about the distance I'm driving at. You know, like those moments you should not care about as much. But when you don't care as much, you realize that you are not motivated to fix those things, right, or change them, because you think the future is gonna just balance out. In my current economic class, we do study what we call time series, where you can predict the future, not like predict, but look at the past data and then determine the future. We don't necessarily see the present, but we can forecast the future. That's how companies can tell you if it's gonna rain tomorrow, if it's gonna rain the next day. So we need the past and the future. Like, I'm not saying we don't need it. We do need the future, past and the future. Like, it does help us predict the future. It does help the past, but when we rely on it so much, sometimes, especially if it's not empirically, right? If it's not quantifiable, things that are not quantifiable can be things like music, things like like films, right? Non-fictional character, fictional stuff that cannot be quantified. And this is the same test that I was on earlier. And if you can't quantify things, if you can't quantify, I need to turn on my camera over here. I don't know why it's off. If you can't quantify things from the past, maybe try to do so, but only use it for a reason. We only use the past in time series analysis. We use the past simply to predict the future. What we can do, however, we cannot change the past. Like, you can't really, if 1970s there was oil crisis and only 1 in 10 Americans would spend more than $10 purchasing gas at the time, we can't go back and be like, oh, let's change this person to from 1 to 2 people, right? Hello, I am back, and as you can see, I'm in my own kitchen because I cannot make a video in my sitting room or in my bedroom because the GoPro doesn't really capture my face. This light is actually pretty good, so it gives me like a little bit of an exposure. So I am back from where I was earlier on the trip. That was around 7 p.m. Now it's almost 9 p.m. I just came home and I'm feeling really full. I'm filled. I had a dinner where I was. I had some food. Pretty exciting. And I didn't say goodbye, so I noticed that when I left the video, I not say goodbye. So I want to make sure that I say bye to this video and get to end it. But I'll reiterate what I was mentioning earlier. So earlier I was recording in a car because I didn't have time to record earlier, because in the afternoon, woke up around 10 o'clock, had some dinner, then around 11 I went to the gym, did some workout, then at 12, went to the library, did some work. I did a lot of work actually. I finished some project and it's supposed to finish. I didn't finish everything, but I finished some of the stuff. And then came home. I realized I didn't have time to record because it gets dark very fast. Like 4 p.m. it was already dark. When I was recording the video, that was 5 p.m. At 4 p.m. I was taking a shower. So when I was driving to Maryland, that was almost 4:30, 4:40, right? So that was very dark. And once it gets darker, the GoPro will not be able to pick up the face or anything around me. I mean, if you watch the video from your own screen, you could see something, you could see somebody. But when I'm recording, I want to be able to. I want to see myself. I want to be able to see myself. I want to be able to see you. Otherwise, the camera could be on one side, it could be on this side, right? So I make sure that I can see my face, so that I can stay consistent in the video, in the frame. So, and when I see myself, I'm able to see, you are able to see in my video as well, much more clear. So anyway, what I was saying earlier is that today I just realized, I took action about few years back, where I became very less focused on the past, but more focused on the present. So like what I'm doing right now. And it's extremely hard to think about the things that you're doing right now. Like it's easy to think about the things that you think about in the past. But now I'm starting to think like social media. When you go to social media, it's easy to see a post from 50s, a post from 2000s, people talking about things that happened in the past, and we don't think about that much. But I'm trying to start thinking, because I've been doing this discipline, making videos every day, doing this and that, but I'm also want to make sure that I can think, like evaluate the things that tell the difference between something for now, something for the past, something for the future, right? Like somebody says, oh, Trump was bad in 2016, like this, like that can make you feel so bad even though it's in the past. It is true, it could be true, but it's in the past, right? And I'm using Trump, but it could be any example. LinkedIn, people post on LinkedIn like, oh, last week I was in this conference and a friend came to me and blah blah blah. When you read that story, it flashes off, it goes off, like you don't really think, is this right now or is this the past, right? So I'm trying to pay attention to that, how people speak, people communicate, what they did right now, right away, or if it's something for the future, right? So I'm trying to think about that, and I think I had this momentum when I was in my undergrad in 2023, 2024. Thank you, Free. That was after I took some classes that was wonderful. But now that I'm even doing economics, where pretty much all I do is data from the past, it has made me like sort of shift away from what I used to think. And if you think about the past so much than the future, you're gonna develop what I could call less critical thinking, right? You can, if you think about the past so much, you most likely forget what's happening right now, and then you have to live in this life of remembering all the time. So, but in this video, when I'm making the video, I'm gonna be talking about the past. It's not going to be the current, just the past. But anyways, that was the thing that I did. And today I did a presentation which I've finished already, which talks about China and how China has been investing in the local economy, and I think that this will be a good idea in the United States, where we should also invest in the local economy, invest in the failed companies, probably boost them up. Anyways, long story short, I'll share this in the future, but for now I just wanna share how I need to change the way I think, the way I say, the way I see things, what I expose myself to, and those kind of things. So other than that, thanks for watching, I guess, and this should be a 40-minute video. I'm assuming, if you're not, probably 35, something like that. Other than that, thanks for watching. Like always, I will see you tomorrow on Sunday. Today is Saturday, November 15. So we have 15 days already in, 15 days in the future. So but today is Saturday, November 15, and we have very few days before we kick on to pretty much the whole year. We have only 1 month and 15 days. It's pretty fast, you know, if you think about it. It's not too far away from now, right? Like we have 30 days of December, which is like 31 days, plus 15 days, that's 45. So we have 45 days. It sounds like too far, but this is like yesterday. 45 days before we get to 2026. So it's time to think about the resolution, which I'm talking about now. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you reached this far, like always, take care. Ciao, ciao.